Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz. This is Ron's Bank Shot Breakdown. We're going over 5 college basketball games for Saturday, November 18th, 2023. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my $19 Bank Shot best bet, as well as my all-access season pass in college basketball, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Alrighty, let's get into it. Here are the games for Saturday in college basketball. First up, we see Mississippi State taking on Washington State. This one, 12 o'clock Eastern on ESPN+. It's a part of the Basketball Hall of Fame tip-off, so it's a neutral site game at Mohegan Sun Arena in Connecticut. Now, neutral site unders in the month of November, especially in college basketball, have been really profitable over the years, and I think we see another one in this game. Mississippi State, 5th in the country in adjusted defensive efficiency, top 5 in effective field goal percentage defense as well, top 25 in three-point and two-point defense. Washington State to start the season, they're 91st in adjusted defensive efficiency, but they're 12th in effective field goal percentage defense. So they're off to a really good start defensively. They played 2 pretty weak opponents in Idaho and Prairie View A&M, but I like the fact that both of these teams slowed the game down. They're ranked 210th and 274th in adjusted tempo, respectively. And I also think Mississippi State and honestly Washington State as well have both kind of, I think they've outdone expectations offensively to start the year. I don't know if it's going to be sustainable going forward. They're taking and making quite a few low percentage shots, and I do think now facing probably the toughest team on the schedule for both of these teams to start the year, we're going to see their offenses come back down to earth for a little bit in this one. So give me the under here in Washington State, Mississippi State. I think it's going to be a good game. I think Washington State getting all those points is also worth a look, but give me the under in this one. Next up, it's Mount St. Mary's in Georgetown. This one, 12 p.m. Eastern as well. And Mount St. Mary's 1-1 to start the year. They lost to Maryland by a score of 68-53, but covered the number as a road underdog in that game. And then they took care of business against Coppin State 74-60. However, they failed to cover the number in that game, and I honestly wasn't impressed with that performance. Really, I wasn't impressed with the game against Maryland either, and that cover is looking less and less impressive when you see Maryland losing their next 2 games against Davidson and UAB. Both upset losses for the Terrapins. So, Mount St. Mary's, their offense only scoring 74 points against Coppin State, one of the worst teams in college basketball. Not really what you want to see. It's ranked 306 in the nation right now in adjusted offensive efficiency. They've turned the ball over far too many times. Right around 26% of their possessions have ended in a turnover, and their shooting numbers also aren't great. The one big advantage they usually have over teams is their offensive rebounding ability, but against Georgetown, the one thing they've done pretty well is rebound the ball. They're top 125 in both offensive and defensive rebounding. So while Georgetown in the first year of Ed Cooley has struggled to start the year, they took that upset loss to Holy Cross and their loss to Rutgers, failed to cover in that game on the road. I still think Georgetown, the much more talented team, obviously the better coach team, and I'm not impressed with Mount St. Mary's offensively. I thought this year, after last year, we saw pretty good three-point shooting numbers from the Mountaineers, but this season, they're ranked 271st in three-point shooting. I don't think they're going to do too much offensively here. I think this could be a good spot for Georgetown, especially because we're getting a pretty good price with the Hoyas after those 2 losses. A good spot for Georgetown to earn a feel-good blowout win at home. So give me Georgetown. I'll lay the reasonable number. Next up, we see Pennsylvania taking on Maryland Eastern Shore. This one's going to be 4 p.m. Eastern. And to me, this is a classic letdown spot for Pennsylvania, who's coming off the win over Villanova, 76-72. They were right around 11-point underdog in that game. They found the outright upset victory. But now they go on the road for their second true road game of the season. Their first was against St. Joseph's. They only scored 61 points in that game in a loss. And, Maryland Eastern Shore, while they've been a very tough program to read in recent years, they are improving, in my opinion. And we saw them put together some nice performances last year at times. We saw an outright win over Temple, 86-78 on the road back on December 20th. And funny enough, Temple last year also upset Villanova, so kind of a similarity there. I think Maryland Eastern Shore's offense, while it is struggling to shoot the basketball, is creating pretty good looks, pretty good shot quality for Maryland Eastern Shore. And their defense has been, the best part of this team the last couple of years. Last year, finishing in the top 100 in adjusted defensive efficiency. I think it's going to be a closer game, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Maryland Eastern Shore pull up the outright upset. Like I said, let down spot for Pennsylvania. We're getting a pretty good price fading them in a game like this. So give me the points here with Maryland Eastern Shore. Next up, we see Western Carolina taking on McNeese. This one's going to be 4 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. Should be a great game between 2 undefeated teams. McNeese is 4-0 and Western Carolina is 3-0. But, out of the 4 wins for McNeese, 3 of those were against subdivision opponents, and not really great subdivision opponents either. But they do have a nice win against VCU. That was their first win of the year on the road against a top 100 team going into the season. But I still think, despite that strong win, Western Carolina is more battle-tested, in my opinion. They played at Notre Dame, and I know it's a down year for the Irish, but still an outright win by 10 points on the road. And then Middle Tennessee, one of the better teams in the Conference USA, another outright true road victory, 66-64. I think Western Carolina is just more balanced in a game like this. McNeese, strong offense, really good shooters, especially from the perimeter, but the defense I'm still a little bit worried about, especially in a true road game. Western Carolina is ranked in the top 150 in adjusted defensive efficiency to start the year. A good defensive rebounding team that takes care of the perimeter. That's important against McNeese. A really good three-point shooting team. Western Carolina's top 100 right now in three-point defense. I'm going to go with WCU in this game. I think they win this game and cover the number. Give me the Catamounts. And the final game we're to talk about for Saturday's card in college basketball, another neutral site game, Nebraska and Oregon State. This one 4 p.m. Eastern as well. It's going to be on Peacock. And Nebraska, while both of these teams are undefeated, Nebraska 4-0, Oregon State 3-0, I do think Nebraska is the more experienced and just more talented team in general. And last year they played pretty well in true road games and neutral site games. We saw a neutral site 17-point win over Florida State. We saw a 10-point win against Creighton on the road. Really good team. Iowa, they beat them by 4 on the road. They beat Rutgers in a true road game, which was a bubble team last year that I thought should have got into the NCAA tournament. So Nebraska, I'm willing to lay points with them in neutral sites or true road games. And Oregon State, they played 2 overtime games, the last 2 games against Troy and Appalachian State. Teams that usually a Pac-12 team should have no problem beating. But Oregon State is a program that's just not been great recently. Their offense right now, 210th in the nation in adjusted offensive efficiency, turning the ball over a lot. Their rebounding numbers aren't great. I think Nebraska is a much better team on both sides of the ball. So give me the Cornhuskers here, laying the points. And that's it. Those are the games in college hoops for Saturday. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Romanelli. Good luck.